Hi everyone, it's Cara from Enchanted Vines, and I'm coming to you today with a very fun special project. So this has been something that I've been working on over the course of the week, because the first part, which I will be showing you, is I used that foam filler, which was definitely interesting. So this is my first time working with it and actually using it instead of a foam block. The other thing is I got this watering can at an antique store. I thought it was so cool. It was said it was from like the British Garden Company. And I literally just saw this in HomeSense like 2 days ago. So not an antique. I should have known better. But anyways, so if anybody wants this watering can, it's at HomeSense. So to start, I want to keep this so that the watering can is kind of the star of the show. So what I'm going to be doing is I do want some trailing greens, but I don't want to like go crazy and like cover up this whole thing. Okay, so I'm going to go in with some Maiden's Fern. So this doesn't have a very tough wiry stem, and I can already tell from just that one piece that anything that's a little less structured might have a harder time going through this. So let's try some other pieces and see. The beauty of doing things live is we figure things out as we go. Okay. So happy Friday to everybody. I know I look like I'm dressed like the watering can. I had someone come out to photograph, or my pups and I. They're doing like a special series, Fat Cat Photography. So it was really fun. The dogs were all dressed up in florals. But I'm just realizing now that I'm doing the video that like, you don't know where I begin and end with this watering can. Which, you know what? That might not be the worst thing. So I hope everyone is having a good day. And even though YouTube seems kind of like, I feel like it's a little bit of a one-way street, you know, aside from like the commenting. But I am on Instagram and I'm on Facebook. And for those of you that are either trying the designs, or if I mention that I'd love to see your designs, I really would. I'd love it if you would message me on any of those platforms and share your work, because I just think that's what like the community is all about, is just seeing like all the different ways that we inspire one another. I love that. So like there are people who attend my workshops and then they send me stuff after and I'm like, oh dang, I had a ringer in my group. I had no idea. So I always find it to be very interesting. All right, so I was doing the Maiden's Fern, but I do find that it's a little too flimsy for this. So I'm going in with my glue pot and I'm dipping in a different type of greenery. And actually, I think it complements the can a little bit better, so that's fine. I'm going to try and keep this on the lower side and play off the colors that are on the can. So there's a lot of like coral and peach. Okay, so we're going to use these ranunculus. And we're just going to go in. See where it takes us. Now, I will say this is not like the most natural looking floral, and I would shy away from this for certain things. However, I really feel like it kind of fits the bill for this particular project. So, you know, sometimes you use your artificial florals in different ways. All right. I think it'd be pretty impressive if I made it through a video without dogs going crazy. All right, so I'm starting off with these darker peach flowers, these ranunculus, and I'm just gonna go around. Normally I do things on a Lazy Susan. I have this new setup for my camera and the ring light, and it's on my Lazy Susan. So Susan's working. She's just not helping us with our design today. But it is really important that you always keep pivoting so that we maintain a certain level of balance, okay? So I will be playing the role of Susan today and doing this. All right. So high OCD, so when I do something once, I like to go and repeat it. So looking here, I put one of these peonies here. So I just want to go back and I want to put it in a mirroring spot. Right. So I'm going in with a lot of peach right now. Now, what I would say for like the pros and cons about like this floral foam is, I don't even think it's less, it's actually more expensive. Okay, so maybe we're gonna go over the cons. Let's do it that way. So the cons of using that spray, which let me grab it so you know what I'm talking about. It is this, it's called Great Stuff Expanding Floral Foam Filler, and it's very fun to use, so that's a pro. A con, I would say, is it's more expensive than using the foam block. So I think a can of this is like $14. I had to use 2 cans just to fill up this container. So if I could do it all over again, I maybe would have put something else in there like a foam block and then filled around it, but not have done full foam all the way up. All right, so that's my first critique. The second is that I was scared to death using it. I have no idea why. I've seen people use it. I know it's not gonna like explode, but I was just a real baby about it. So yes, as we've seen, if we have things with weaker stems on it, like this is like nicely wired, this goes right in. But if it's not, if you have something that's more like rubber based, it's not really gonna go in. And if it's not really in there, then it's not gonna hold, okay? So another con, geez, I'm being so negative, but I'm like, so I am so excited about this project. So I don't wanna make it seem like it's a negative because I'm very happy about it. But this container could never be repurposed. Now, if I just used foam blocks and I pieced them together and like used a stake to fill the space, if one day I was like, you know what, I want to water my plants with this thing instead, I could pull all of that out. This foam spray, like everything's permanent. So if you use it, that container is made for that. Now, I am going to be doing a new project where I'm going to be doing like outdoor faux floral urns. And I think those would be perfect for like if a real estate agent wanted to stage their house, for people who have a black thumb like I do. They really could only be used on covered spaces. I did buy some flowers that are specifically made for outdoors. However, I just think in the long run, it's not something that would do well if it was just out in the elements. So it is definitely for covered porches or temporary use. But for that, the foam blocks wouldn't do as well because it's outdoors. It's going to be, you know, exposed to moisture. This type of foam is going to be resistant to that. So that is in the plus category. So this is a great filler for anything that's going to go outside. Okay. And it's always fun to try something new. Like it's just, you don't know what you don't know until you try it. And once I wasn't scared of the filler, it was actually pretty fun. I just like was being a real baby about it for a little while. So by can number 2, I was in it. And I also didn't read the directions, which I never read the directions on things. So the first can, I broke the nozzle off it, so I didn't get to use it. I'm hoping I can repurpose one of these nozzles so that the actual can doesn't go to waste. But there are instructions. It's something that if you're using a lot of it, you might want to do outside. It definitely had some fumes to it that I wasn't expecting. All things that I'm sure were like on the can. All right, so taking a step back, this is coming together super easily. Now, most of these products are from Pioneer Wholesale. So we've got our buttercream cabbage roses, and we've got some ranunculus. And then these are not from Pioneer. The ones that I said did not look very natural are not. They're something I picked up in like a local store. I'm going to keep turning and making sure that there are pops of buttercream throughout. And then let's see, I pulled like a variety of things. So what do we want to introduce for a color? I don't know, like, do we want to just stay with this peach? I pulled, so like just to show you like what my thought process is. So I know I wanted to match the colors on the can with the peach and the coral. So I pulled this bush, which has a lot of like the creamy colors. This bush of peach roses. Ooh, but then I have these. Okay. And I have these. I had also pulled some pinks and purples, but I think I'm really liking the direction of this matching the can. So I'm going to stick with just this color palette. Okay. Has anybody else gone to antique stores and bought things that weren't antique? I just did not realize that. And I'm very curious to see if I paid more or less than HomeSense. I mean, I did think it looked really, really new. So in hindsight, I guess common sense could have prevailed there. But saw something pretty and bought it. All right, so for some of these things, I'm going to shorten the stem. In different places, it's a little hard to get through this foam. I'm not sure if everyone glues when they use this foam, but if you've been following any of my work, I find mechanics to be incredibly critical. I think that these things, like all these designs and materials, they're expensive enough that it needs to be an investment and you want to get the most out of it. All right, so we're filling up. Now here we can see that there is an imbalance. Okay, so I'm missing some of the ranunculus. Let me grab it. Now I've done virtual workshops before, like only a couple times, but I did have somebody request a kit from one of the wreaths I did, one of the 20-minute wreaths. And I do want people to know that is an option. I can send off kits. It's not something that I've done before, but I always want to be of service and, you know, be helpful. So if that's something that you think is helpful, then let me know. If ever there's like a certain type of video that you want to see, let me know, and I'd be happy to do that. Because a lot of what I learned, a lot of what my initial foundation is, was self-taught. However, like as far as wanting to go into this as a business and really feel confident in shipping things off to people and, you know, hoping and knowing that they'll be satisfied with it, you know, I definitely had a lot of help along the way. And a lot of it came from YouTube. So that's kind of why that's part of my goal for this year, is to offer a wide range of videos, because I feel now that like I have enough information to explain to people how to really construct something so that it'll last, and also to know products, like know what can go outside, what can't. I didn't know initially that Real Touch flowers should not be used outdoors, so that was important to know. That's an indoor only product. And I'm always talking about the Krylon UV treatment spray. So like that's really important to know. You don't want to have a client come back to you after 6 months and say, you know, what you sent them doesn't look like it did when they first got it. Like that would disappoint me so much. And I know a lot of us are designing for friends and family. I've seen a lot of that in the comments, and I really can't think of like a more thoughtful gift than you taking the time to make something so special just for that person, like to use their favorite flowers, their favorite colors. So if your goal isn't to use these tutorials for a business, but more to gift, again, I think that's like amazing. Great for Mother's Day gifts. I mean, if I could count how many of my wreaths my mom has, it's a bit much. It's a bit much. It's a little bit of a wreath museum over at her house. But aren't moms like that? I know I am about things my daughter does. All right, so this is filling out. Now I'm going around with these little peach, like button flowers, and spreading them out. And what's nice is these actually have like a bit of the two colors that we're using. So you get the peach and then you also get that little pop of pale yellow. So it ties things together quite nicely. This was the first time I ordered these from Pioneer and I was not disappointed. Going through, and I like to have things that are like disruptors, so I don't want anything that's supposed to look natural just being all like in a row. When you think of how things grow in nature, or if you thought about an English garden, like you think about all the things that are growing in between it. And to me, that's what like creates this level of visual interest, and also that something looks really, really natural and beautiful. Let's see. The other day I was just not feeling like designing, and today it's like the sun is shining, it's Friday, and I'm just feeling better. I think sometimes when you get back to doing what you love, like your feelings kind of go with it. So it's better to be busy doing stuff than to just be focusing on anything negative or sad. So gotta have time for both. I think that's like where the balance is. All right, so now I'm coming in with these peach peonies, again from Pioneer. First time I've had these because I got a custom order that was like really specific for somebody's cutting garden, and I am not disappointed. But what I am gonna say is I'm gonna go back. So the flowers that initially I said were not natural looking, the more I look at them, the more I feel like they're bringing down my design. So I'm actually just going to cut them off. So I should just stick with what I know and what I'm comfortable with and what I'm proud of. So for me, it's going to be things that look natural. And that's why, because things that don't end up irking me. So that was a little bit of a waste for me. All right. Going in with our beautiful peach peonies. And I know I got some questions about Pioneer, and I'm not like affiliated, I'm just a customer of theirs. So you do need to be a business and be able to provide a tax ID in order to use their services. I do believe there are other places that you can order bulk and you don't have to be a business. I don't think you have to be a business for Michael's bulk. And I guess I don't really know where else. But for Pioneer, you do have to have a business tax ID, and then like the minimums are like 300. So when you place an order, you're placing a good size order. But you get what you pay for. All right. So this lady is pretty much chock full. What I think I want to do is just reassess the trailing greens to see, you know, I swore I was not going to make anything big, and it's just like, I just can't help myself. I don't know what my problem is. If you saw the tutorial on the crescent arrangement, like, that girl is like a beast. I don't even know where she's gonna go. Like, I think she needs to find a home in like a hotel foyer, because she is just so big. I mean, she's beautiful, but I mean, I just don't know where she's gonna go. All right. So now what I want to do is I'm going to take some viney looking greenery, And again, I want the watering can. Oh, but you know what? I don't. Okay. So these also have like that overly malleable stem for the most part. Let's see if this is going to work with this style of spray foam. And so this watering can is something, I think it could be an indoor or an outdoor decoration. I feel like if it's outdoors, this is one of those things that it should be covered. I mean, the wreaths I make, they don't need to be covered, but they're also hanging on a door, so it's not like things are just like filling them up and sitting in it. So I feel like if you had this watering can out on like an open entryway, water's just gonna sit on it, and I would assume it could rust the can at some point, and I would think the florals would be damaged. So I would say inside or porch decor, which porch decor is huge right now. It's like, this is that time of year where we all want the flowers, but like the flowers aren't here yet. And so we're all kind of like itching to get some like color in our lives. So this is the perfect thing to do that. Give you some color. Sometimes you got to make your own magic, I say, and make your own spring. All right. So this is another greenery. Oh, you know what we're going to do? We're going to use floral picks. Okay. This is what happens when we're just designing in like real time. Okay, and this is what I should have done in the beginning. When something wasn't going in because it was too soft of a material or a stem for the foam, I should have put it on a floral pick, okay? So these floral picks are great for a few things. One is, sometimes you cut your florals too short, whether it's by accident or you had to, it was just part of like a one-off or something like that. So if you cut your stem too short, but the bloom on top is in great shape, you don't want to waste that. So what you do, and what we're going to do for this so that it actually will go into the foam, is so these have this little copper wire on it. You're going to wrap this copper wire along the stem, okay? And then you're going to use this floral tape. So this floral tape is like, it's not like tape, it's very tacky. And what you do is you just spin and wrap, spin and wrap. And that's just going to help with keeping this intact, okay? So really, in hindsight, anything could go into this spray foam. I just didn't think of it. Because when we're talking about mechanics and we want to do things right, we don't want to like half put something in that we don't feel is really secure. We want to do right, whether it's a client, whether it's for a friend. We want to make sure that what we're giving them is like the absolute best. And these are just really small things to do. They're not expensive. They're not time consuming. It's just a matter of like thinking worst case scenario, like what could happen? Say I put something in and it really wasn't in all the way. What if I ship this out and somebody opens a box and there's a piece of greenery just sitting there? I'd be disappointed. So I want to think about like all the steps that I can take to ensure that people get the very best from me. So with that in mind, I'm going to pull out this maiden's hair because I really don't think I did a great job. I mean, I did put it in there, but I don't like how it felt when it went in. Okay, so we actually can use more of this maiden's hair, fern, and also like use it for some texture. So what's pretty about this is it's got like this color, it's got this airiness, and it creates texture without like blocking things, without creating like this opaque portion of your arrangement. All right, so like this is a beautiful type of greenery to use when you want to expand upon something without it overtaking it. Okay, so see, on these floral picks, things are just like sliding right in. Give me all the floral picks. All right, so where are we at? We're at like 25 minutes. And she's almost done. We're gonna just do a few of these pieces of fern. We're just gonna string them up. And then the final steps are going to be, like, as I can see, there's glue hairs on here. So you always want to make sure that you clean up glue hairs, and there's two ways of doing it. One is to go through with your hands and pull it off. I always recommend doing that in natural lighting because, like, inside I can't really see all the glue hairs. So that's one way of doing it. Go out in natural lighting and just pull. The other thing is you could go take your hairdryer on like a medium heat. Oh, okay. So pretty. And the glue will just kind of like to the materials. I know that's a very technical term, but that's the best way for me to describe it. So, all right. So now that we're able to use the maiden's fern, I'm going to call it a different name like every time. Maiden's hair fern, maiden's fern, I don't know. I do want to just go back in and take a minute to add this because it's going to create so much texture and movement. I mean, you see this, it's like, it is how things grow in nature. Things don't grow up and down, side to side. Things are at an angle, things have curves, and that's what we want to capture with this greenery. I'm just going back to make sure that I've evenly distributed it. And I'd love to know what you guys think of this project. I'd like to know where you would use this because everyone has different things. Like some people use their wreaths on mirrors, on doors inside their home, in their kitchen. And sometimes people use them on their tables, like they lay them down and put like candles in them. So you tell me where you would put this arrangement, okay? I would love to know. And I will be listing this on my site. I don't know if I ever get into the fact that I have an online store. I run my business from my home in Pelham. I left my job of almost 20 years at the end of 2021, and I just kind of went all in on Enchanted Vines. So I do have a store. The things that I am designing on here are available for sale. You know, my main goal with YouTube though is to just provide free tutorials. But if ever anyone's interested, you know, you can go check out these products on our website, which is enchantedvines.com. So this watering can will be listed shortly for sale. All right, so this is the last piece I'm going to put in, and I'm going to then use the hairdryer on it to get all the glue hairs, and then I'm going to use the Krylon UV spray, which I'll show you guys. They sell it at Michael's, and honestly, I don't even know where else they sell it. That's the only place I've seen. I haven't seen it at Hobby Lobby. I've seen different versions of it at different stores. So you could find a Krylon that is a UV protectant that you could use on florals. However, this one that actually says it's for florals, see, has the least amount of like odor after it. It dries really quickly, and I think it's just best suited for it. So there are other Krylon options that you can use. This is just my favorite. This is my go-to. So when this is done, I'm going to take this outside and I'm going to give this a good like 30-second spray. I always do extra spray on the greens because they're the first to be affected by sun damage. Okay, so that is today's tutorial. Let me know what you think. And I really appreciate you tuning in, and I hope you have an awesome weekend ahead.